Now we're going to explore creating a model using the Master Data Services web page in SQL Server 2008 R2. So the first thing we're going to do is, now that we've logged on, we're going to click on the System Administration. And here's our Model Explorer. And if I click Models down here, I can come through and I can manage models. And now I'm going to click the green plus icon down here, which in all instances using this web interface means add. You probably figured that out. So I'm going to give it a model name, and what I'm going to create down here is just a rough model. I'm going to call it, let's call it Human Resources. Okay, and I want an entity. I do not want an entity of the same name. Normally we would have that, but I'm going to say Human Resources, and I'm going to say that's okay. I'm going to click the Save icon up here. This is my cancel. I'll come through and save. And I've got the little spinny, so now I have a Human Resources model down here. Notice down here over Model Maintenance, when I select Human Resources, the Edit pencil icon becomes clickable. So if I went through and selected that, you see I could come back through and change the name, which I'm not going to do. Okay, continuing on, here's my list of models that I have down there, and there's the Human Resources that I just created. Again, selecting my Human Resources, it now becomes editable. So what we're going to do down here is, first thing I want to do is I want to go back to the home page. Here's my Human Resources, but now you notice if I pull that down, I have version 1. As soon as I go through and create a model, it's versioned, and of course the first one is version 1. So if I come down here like this, let's just take a quick look at the Explorer, and you notice there's really nothing to explore because I've created no entities. So let's go home again, and we'll come down to System Administration, and I'm going to select Human Resources, and I want to come through and I want to manage. I want to manage the entities within Human Resources, and I want to add an entity into Human Resources. So an entity is easiest to consider as if it was a table in a database, because I'm going to come through and I'm going to create an entity, and then the columns in that database become attributes. So let's go through and we're going to add an entity name, and now we'll add the employee. Remember, when we created the model initially, it asked me if I wanted to create an entity that matched the name of the model, which is very common, and I said no, just so you could see I can come through and do this. So now enable explicit hierarchies, and this I have to select that. If I don't, if I click save, it'll come down here and tell me I made a mistake. At this time I'm going to say no. And I'll come through and add my entity, and my little spinny work thing is happening up here creating the database. And there we go. I now have an employee entity, and if I select that row, again everything comes live. So here I would add another one. Here's my edit. If I get my edit pencil icon down here, if I click this, here's my attribute group maintenance, which we have no attributes. So if I go into leaf groups, I can come in here and add a leaf group, but I'm not going to do that at this time. We'll go back over to my entities. This would apply business rules, and if I came through and fired this up, it would come through and fire any business rules that I have would be applied to the entity, but we're not going to do that. We don't have any business rules anyway. And of course, this is my delete. Okay, now we're continuing on with our entity down here, and I'm back on my entity maintenance page, and as you see, I've got my employee up here. I'm going to add another entity, because what I want to have happen, I want to create a domain-based attribute for the employee entity, and to do that I have to add a entity. So first thing we'll do is come through and add it, and this will be much easier once you see it. So I'm going to add department, and no hierarchy. I'm going to say no, and I'll add that. Now I've got my department, and as soon as it's added down here, I'm going to come in, I'm going to add some members into the department. So let's go home, let's go Explorer, let's go Department, and as soon as that comes back up, there we go. And now I want to add a member. Okay, so I'm going to add a member, I'm going to make it sales, and I'm going to give it a code of 01. because I cannot resist coding a one. I could have put any kind. I could put any kind of alphanumeric in there. It'll work. And I'm going to add another one. So click forward, and I want to come in here and I want to add IT, and let's put a space in there. IT, and we'll give that code 02, and then we'll add manufacturing. And we'll make that 03. And one more. Let's see, we'll add HR. Oops. And we'll make that 04. And we'll save. Okay, and you see what I've got down here. Let's go back over and let's go home. Let's go to System Administration, and we'll go into HR again. I'm going to pick HR over here, and now I want to work with the employee. So I'm going to edit my employee down here, and now I'm in Edit, and I want to add a attribute to the employee entity, and I'm going to base that on a domain-based entity, which I went through and created already. So let's add down here, and it's going to be domain-based. As soon as I go domain-based, it's going to come in here and it's going to ask me what I want, which are my other entities, and I'm going to come through and I'm going to select department, and I'm going to name it department, and I will save it. And now let's go home, and let's go into Explorer, and let's select entities, employee, and let's add an employee down. Well, here's Bob. I went through and selected Bob, and at one time, here's the department that I just added down here, and if I click in that, see, sometimes it's a little slow, and pull this down, now I can come through and I can assign Bob's in there as I2. By the way, you see this is name and code up here. If I just changed it over here, and I just wanted to see, I can flip it on through, or I could just see the code as they come on across. All right, let's again set it name and code. And now I've got that down here, and nothing fascinating. All right, I paused for a second the video so you wouldn't have to see me clicking on through it. I'm back over the employee entity, and I want to add another attribute. Now I'm going to add a free form attribute. So I'm going to the free form I'm going to put down in here is, let's say I want to put down I don't know, something about an employee. Here you go, hire date. And data type is going to be date. And input mask is required. So we'll go in month date, sounds fine. And the display date, that's a little much. Let's just go 50. And now I've got that, and I can save it. And now we'll come back in and we'll add one more type. And I'm going to go in here for file, and I'm going to name photo, and my file extension. I'll come down here, I'll take anything, but let's say we'll take we want our photos to be in let's do we have GIFs? Yeah, let's just no, let's do JPEG, GIF map, or any of that down here, and photo, and we'll save that. Okay, I paused again, and I popped back over here, and I'm looking at the employee entity, and here's our friend Bob. And if I drilled on across like that, there's the hire date, and as you see, my hire date and my photo down here, I can just type my information in on my bitmap. I'm sorry, in the format that's required. All right, back over here in the employee page. Now let's take a look at transactions. If I come in and edit this, and Bobby doesn't like to go by Bob, so he's uptown, so now we're going to call it Robert. And I've got that in here. And now see, as soon as I click off the field, she saves. Now I come in here and review, and I'm going to take a look at transactions. And here's the name. So attribute that was specified, and if I pull on across, prior was Bob, new is Robert, and we've decided we didn't really like Bob being so uptown on us. So we're going to reverse that transaction. You sure want to reverse it? Yep. And we'll pop back through. Let's again go back and take a look at Bob. And now it's back over to Bob. Again, the question mark here is because we have not applied, we have not validated, we have not applied business rules. Okay, that's we're going to come back in a few minutes here and take a look at some other features.